How just 9 crops controlled by 4 companies feed the human race. Our modern global food system looks significantly different to the one that fed our grandparents last century. Food supply chains have become progressively longer and more complex, while at the same time the number of basic food crops that sustain us has decreased. Modern humans face food security risks from the complexity of our modern supply systems and from the low number of crops that provide most of our species' calorie intake. It's this lack of diet biodiversity that I find the most shocking. Would you believe that just 9 food crops provide 3/4 of our calories across the globe, and only 30 species are used to make 90% of all our foods? Compare this to traditional hunter-gatherer societies that ate up to 800 species of plants and animals across a single year. Today, just 3 food crops, rice, wheat and maize, together, and that's corn by the way, together provide 50% of global human calories. We now rely on fewer species with less genetic diversity than ever before to feed more humans than have ever been alive. The lack of biodiversity means our food crops are more vulnerable to damaging effects of climate change. Activists worry that our farming systems will not be able to keep up with changes to growing conditions that are progressing at pace. That means a higher risk of crop failures, lower yields, and more frequent famines. Climate change affects our food supply through more frequent extreme weather events such as droughts, floods, frosts, and storms. Lower yields also result from more frequent periods of suboptimal growing conditions, which can also increase crops' vulnerability to pests and diseases. Monoculture cropping greatly increases the chance of catastrophic losses from plant diseases. And you can read issue 21 of The Rotten Apple for a discussion of the previous banana varieties extinction events. So that's previous to the banana that we now mostly eat. And here is a quote from Karine Pechard, who is a researcher in biotech, food and seed sovereignty at the Graduate Institute of International and Development Studies in Geneva. And she says, "The more uniform our food's genetic pool is, the more vulnerable we are to all sorts of environmental stresses, and we know that with climate change there will be more of these stresses." Anti-competitive seed trading practices are contributing to our lack of food biodiversity, according to activists. More than 50% of the world's seeds are controlled by just 4 corporations: Bayer, Corteva, ChemChina and Limagrain. Intellectual property laws and seed trading agreements prevent the free buying and selling of food crop seeds, and that prevents farmers from bypassing the big agribusiness suppliers. This increases our vulnerability to natural and man-made disasters. And I've got a list in the email of startling facts about biodiversity, or in fact the lack of diversity in our global food systems. So these are bullet points and I'll just read them out one by one. Half of the world's cheeses are made with cultures and enzymes produced by just one company. Most pork production globally is from one breed of pig. Almost all commercially traded bananas are Cavendish variety. Many dairy cows globally are just one breed as well, and that's the Holstein breed. We eat just 9 crops now, which together provide 75% of the human population's calories. Rice, wheat and maize together provide 50%. The other crops are potato, barley, palm oil, soy, sugar beet and sugar cane. 90% of modern food products are derived from just 30 species of plants and animals. Archaeologists found the seeds of 40 different plants in the stomach of a man from 2,500 years ago in a peat bog. Traditional hunter-gatherers, the Hadza people of Africa, have 800 plant and animal species that they might consume each year. More than 50% of the world's seeds are controlled by just 4 corporations: Bayer, Corteva, ChemChina and Limagrain. Seed trading laws and agreements prevent the free buying and selling of food crop seeds. Food plant extinctions have occurred on a massive scale since the Industrial Revolution. The Food and Agriculture Organization estimates that 75% of the world's crop varieties disappeared between 1900 and the year 2000. So, the year 1900 and the year 2000. One of the earliest cultivated food crops, a variety of wheat known as cavalca or cavalier, has been grown for about 10,000 years. It is now almost extinct, with just a few plants remaining in eastern Turkey. And the final point is, in 2022, John Deere tractors collect data from farms and sell it to Monsanto Bayer and to financial traders of crop price futures. As always, all the links to all the sources that I've used are in the email.